think about the atomic bomb and how
Yeah, right.
the first nation to figure out that there was new possibilities within technology, and because they had discoveries within physics, basically won the war. They were able to
Right.
control every country. They became effectively the god because they could wipe anybody out within an instance.
Right.
It's like an analogy for how
That's right.
reimagining physics creates new possibilities in technology.
That's right. And this is even bigger than that, because nuclear bombs will be like firecrackers compared to what you can do with a technology that's utterly outside of space and time.
We could do anything. We could live forever, but that's not even something that would really matter. But
Right. Once you realize it's just a game, but you could give yourself extra time as much as you wanted in this. So it's the moral question is a very, very interesting one. It's not to be taken lightly, either way. And ultimately, it may be very related to the question you asked earlier, which is about the nature of why did the one, if there is a one, allow all this kind of horrible pain and so forth. So I have a sense, and I can't defend it, that all is well. That even with the technologies, even if the technologies are really far more powerful than anything we've seen before, nothing can actually hurt the reality of the one. And all of the headsets are just headsets. They're taken off anyway by the one. They're just tried on and let go. Apparently the one, even without all this technology, has already, put Jesus on the cross. If that story about the one is correct, then it's given a thumbs up for choosing to do that, because that, it did it.
it was created cancer and the Holocaust and.
That's right. So.
But the one's relationship with the pain of the organisms it's create is different to the perception of pain in the organism itself, potentially. So like I hate pain, but maybe the one consciousness that we all share, that we all return to and came from, might see it as a useful signal or might not be subjectively bothered by it because it's choosing to
do that.
To do that.
I agree with you. That seems to be a reasonable kind of conclusion. And in meditative practice, often what you find is, I always risk pretending that I'm further along than I'm not. So I'll just say I'm a neophyte. So I'll talk about what I've heard from other more advanced people, that what was a deep pain, emotional pain, for example, when they stare at it and really accept it, it dissolves. So now I'm speaking over my head, but from people that I have no reason to disbelieve.
I read a comment on your video from a guy that wrote this. He wrote, "I'm a schizophrenic. I do DoorDash for some extra money. And one night I arrived and walked to the door. I placed the food down on the door and I took a picture. I got in my car and I drove away. And 30 minutes later, the customer called me and asked me where the food was. And I told him exactly where it was. I remember taking the picture on his doorstep. So he took it up with DoorDash directly. Sometime later, I opened my back door and I saw his order on my back door. I was so confused why it was there. I remembered everything about going there and taking the picture. He said I was never there on his cameras. Apparently, I hallucinated the whole delivery. I was there, but must have never left the car or even drove up. What was I doing then? Was I staring blankly at the windshield with my eyes glazed over? I called him and apologized, but he already got his refund. I felt so terrible. I'm on medication and nothing works. It just goes to show how easily some misfirings in the brain can completely alter your sense of reality, but it also poses deeper questions about reality." I thought it was an interesting,
Very.
interesting point, but also it also speaks to when we talk about people that have various mental illnesses like schizophrenia that are experiencing the world entirely differently. It raises big questions about what consciousness is again.
Absolutely. And someone might take that example and say, doesn't that show that brain activity is causing consciousness? And you get the wrong brain activity, then you get these false experiences and you get these illusions. So a lot of people take this as a victory point for the physicalist point of view. But there's another point of view, and that is think about the experiences that you have when you're dreaming. They can be very, very vivid. And you're in a dream, you are de novo creating that reality. That's not a reality that's there in front of you. You're creating that reality.